So lastly, I want to talk about really having the courage to say yes to you. Saying yes because you mean it and because you value yourself and your life moving forward. You're invested in the today you and also in the future you, knowing that when you get up to the future, you'll look back and thank past version of you, today you, for believing in that version of you so hard. Listen, you guys, it's so important. This is where I come in hot because I noticed this going on with me this week and last week, really. I have a business opportunity, something kind of separate than this. I mean, I'll always be doing this, what I do, but an additional something else going on. And I found myself like I was super excited about it in the beginning. And then the doubt started to eke in, and then the floodgates opened and it was pouring in. And I found myself, I was like going back and forth from it needs to happen now or it's never going to happen. Those were the only two options. It was black or white. Like it needs to happen right now, now, or it never will happen at all. And so then I started to kind of give up on the opportunity. I was cutting faith off and believing more in doubt. As you can imagine, that's not going to turn out well for me in the end if I continued to lean into that doubt. If I didn't have both feet in and committing to the thing that I want to do. So then it kind of reminded me of there's this Chinese, I guess, analogy about bamboo and planting a seed. But I started to think about it. You guys know how much I love plants. I've got these seeds in my kitchen drawer and they're in like this little bowl. I started to think about how long they've been sitting there. And they're all different kinds of seeds, actually, too. There's some wildflowers, and then I have some lavender, and then I have a couple trees. Each one of those seeds, think about those as different ideas and goals that you've had, especially coming from trauma. We get into the people pleasing and doubting ourselves. And the further in the dark and in the drawer, those seeds get pushed. We start putting all of our wants and desires on the back burner until you don't even remember which seed is what. Things get like all mucky and blurry about what it is that you wanted ever to begin with anyway. The longer that those seeds sit not being tended to, the likelihood of them germinating and turning into the trees or the flowers or whatever they are becomes less and less. You have to say yes to those seeds, those ideas, if they're worth it to you. In this analogy, the yes would be water, care. It would mean putting each one of those seeds out in the ground somewhere, digging a little hole and placing them, covering them back up and pouring water and waiting. If it's watered regularly, if it's got the proper sunlight, eventually it'll come up. But because we can't see what's going on underground, we'll go out and we'll look and nothing's there. Maybe we'll come back a couple days more, nothing's there. We let a week go by and we come back and maybe it's dry because you forgot to water it one day and there's a bunch of weeds growing in its place. And you start to lose hope. And you're like, what's going on here? Why won't my seed work? Was it a bad seed? You start to doubt it. And then you're like, well, maybe I should just check. And so you dig away all the weeds and you start to dig down and you realize that a whole root system has grown underneath the ground. You just can't see it because the soil's over it. And by doing that, you interrupt the growth. Nevertheless, you cover the seed back up with soil, and then finally up it pops through and we see the little green stem. But then we've got aphids or spider mites that come and they like to eat all the new leaves. And so if we, the caretakers of the plants or trees, right, don't tend to the pests, things go to shit in a hurry for that plant. It's at its most vulnerable, being brand new. Same thing with ideas. When we're most vulnerable, think about our situations of alienation. It feels like we're being pecked at, challenged and kicked, assaulted, and all the things that the alienating parent does. Court doesn't work out right, and lawyers are expensive, and all the things happen to us. And we could lose faith and just say, forget it. Forget all of this. Forget me trying to excel at life. And that's what I did for a long time. That's what many alienated parents do. They're like, fuck it, nothing works. Many people give up, like give up. And I don't want that for you. I don't want that for me. I don't want that for anybody. It's so important to have faith and stick with your yeses. Don't go digging up that seed and ruin that root system that it's working so hard to build for you. It's building your foundation. You just don't see it yet. But it's happening. It's all happening. And if it's happening with you, like, especially when it comes to like self-growth, personal care, mental health is concerned, it's so common that you don't really see the rewards coming your way. If you've got these lofty goals, these big goals for yourself, but you have to get the foundation right, your core right before. Just trust and know that even though that you can't see the huge changes in yourself and in the impact that you're making, keep going. Don't stop. Every time you doubt, it's like digging up that seed again and ruining that root system. Every time you halt, put the project on hold. Now, if you're doing it mindfully, it's one thing, but if you're doing it out of fear or lack of self-worth or direction, right? Intentionality, is that it? Intention. Each time you pull away, say no to that plant, say no to your idea, you compromise the foundation that's already been built, everything that you've already been working so hard for. You have the choice right then and there to walk away and not water it and not tend to it. Or you have the choice to say yes to it, water it, and let it grow. You can. There will be times where you do doubt yourself. There will be times where you're not sure and you do need to reassess, revisit. Is this worth it for me? Is this what I want in the end? Why am I wanting to quit now? Is it out of fear? Then think again. You're not going to like your reason for quitting. Keep reassessing. Do it consciously so that you can continue to say yes to yourself and yes to your life. And when you're able to say yes and keep that yes to yourself, you earn the trust back with yourself. And that ends up showing out in your life, in your relationships, and all the things and what you're able to produce moving forward. They say that most people quit just before the miracle happens or just before they see the fruits of their labor, right? So many people quit right before they're there because of the same thing that I'm talking about here. All the roots are growing, but they just don't see it. They don't see the rewards coming yet. They're like, I'm trying so hard for this goal. I'm trying. And they lose faith and they give up and they walk away from this foundation that had been built, this hard earned, well laid foundation. They walk away from it just before it starts to happen. You can apply the 80-20 rule here. So 80% of the progress happens in the last 20% of the time before you reach your goal. So all of the fruits of your labor are going to show up at the very end. All the stuff before, if you're only going to see little rewards on your way up to the goal, it's going to be very small, limited. It's going to feel like it's not working. And then at that last 20%, that's when you have to hold on because that's when 80% of your rewards show up. So don't give up early on yourself or on your goals or whatever it is that you've committed to. Love yourself enough, respect yourself enough, and respect those in your life enough to invest in you